I'm not, I know it completes level 4, but I think there might be level 5 electives. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
did you have an elective that you've done with level 4?
No.
Okay, so there's a ways yet. Okay. And some other updates. Candace, she had to go to the dentist today and her mouth is
Oh,
all numb. She might be joining us, but she won't be giving her icebreaker.
okay.
So I will reschedule her, for that. And look what I brought with me.
Oh, gavel.
The real one. Yes. I saw that Dr. Bill Liverman won't be with us because he's convalescing right now, having had some medical procedure done. So I'll be gaveling us in as soon as I see my clock go off at 6. So, well, welcome everyone. Okay, by my clock, it's 6 o'clock, and welcome to this evening's meeting of the MetroMasters Toastmasters Club. And I will read the mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. And now to welcome the Toastmaster of this evening is me and the topic master. So we'll get right past that and move over to our club president, Jelena Beckler, who will bring us up to date on important club business. Jelena.
Thank you. So this past weekend, we had our leadership training, and I believe we had uh, 4 or more
Yes.
officers trained. So we will get that distinguished point. Um, we are still looking for volunteers. Thank you. I think Dottie, I saw that you volunteered for the LDA speech competition. This is a speech competition in which young high schoolers give speeches, and so they need mentors and judges. So if anyone can volunteer their time, please reach out to me. And then I think the only other thing is that we do have the speech competitions coming up in February. Thanks.
Great. Okay. And so tonight we have a interesting agenda. Let me share my screen. And can people see the agenda?
Yes.
So we have our word master, who is Artemis. Artemis, could you give us the word of the day?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. The word of the day is, oh, cogent. It's put it in the chat, but it came through. Let's see. One moment. Okay. Well, one second. Um, Sorry about the delay. The word of the day is cogent, Cogent. It is a adjective and definition, convincing or believable by virtue of forcible, clear, or incisive presentation telling. It's, in other words, to the point, relevant, and pertinent. In a sentence, at the town meeting, citizens presented many cogent arguments supporting building a new senior citizens center. Return control to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Artemis. So let us all make sure our cogent remarks for table topics are appropriate for tonight. Now we have two speakers for tonight. Candace, who was going to be doing her icebreaker, noted to me that she had just come back from the dentist and wasn't in the appropriate shape after the codeine would not be working. So we'll reschedule that. Is Erilyn with us?
Erilyn indicated to me that she would not be here, but she would
Okay,
try to
very
join us
okay.
next meeting.
So it's narrowed down to, and I believe Karen was also scheduled, but she has just had a medical procedure, so she won't be speaking. So we have one featured speaker tonight, and this is our president, Jelena Veckler. And her title of her speech is Together We Rise, Together We Rise. Jelena Veckler, please welcome now.
Thank you. Friends, neighbors, fellow change makers. Today we find ourselves at a crossroads. The challenges we face are immense, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The world is full of divisions, injustices, and crises that seem beyond our control. But I'm here to tell you this: we are not powerless. In fact, the power to change the world is right here within us, in the very communities we belong to. For so long, we've been conditioned to think that survival is a solitary act, that we must fight for ourselves, by ourselves. But that is a lie. In times of crisis, when it feels like the weight of the world is crushing us, the truth is this: our fates are intertwined. Our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of those around us. And despite our differences, whether they be political, cultural, or personal, when we strip it all down, we want the same things: to keep those we love safe, to ensure they are cared for, and to pursue our happiness, free from fear or suffering. These universal desires connect us all more than we realize. So how do we show up for each other? Not just in the easy moments, but especially when things are hard. Let me offer a few ideas for how we can take action. Number one, prioritize collective well-being and mutual aid over individual gain. In times of crisis, it's easy to fall into the trap of focusing solely on ourselves. But now is the time to reject individualism and embrace our shared humanity. Our collective well-being must come first. We need to create networks of support built on the principle of mutual aid, where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. So, what exactly is mutual aid? Unlike charity, which often positions the recipient as passive and disconnected, mutual aid is rooted in solidarity. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and pooling our resources, whether that's time, food, money, or knowledge, to ensure that no one is left behind. This could look like launching food drives, cultivating community.
Jelena, where did you get all this information from?
I love that question. I have amalgamated this information over many years of examining different books and different sources from people who have come together in situations like this and overcome them. So I do believe I'm speaking from a place of knowledge here. Does that answer your question?
I'll accept it, but okay.
So this could look like launching food drives, cultivating community gardens, or crowdfunding campaigns for those facing hardship. The idea is to share what we have, not
Have you
not
ever
just to survive.
participated or um, been a part of have you personally been able to help out or advocate in these situations?
Great question. Yes, I wouldn't expect to ask this of all of you if I wasn't doing it myself. I'm very involved in different mutual aid groups in which I can give people money that helps them pay their rent, that helps them put food on the table, that helps them get childcare. So yes, I fully live these ideals that I am espousing here. And I am working to create spaces where support flows both ways, whether that's offering childcare, running errands for elderly neighbors, or helping someone find a job. 2, we need to foster safe spaces for vulnerability. A thriving community is one where people are able to be vulnerable. People must be able to share their pain, their fear, and their struggles without fear of judgment or rejection. Foster spaces where people can express themselves openly, whether that's through support groups, community gatherings, or even in your own home. Create environments where listening to one another is just as important as speaking. When we listen and share, we build deeper connections. And in those connections, we find the strength to face whatever challenges come our way. Number 3, challenge systems of oppression together. Facing injustice can feel overwhelming, but collective action is powerful. To make a difference, we must unite to challenge systems of oppression. This might look like volunteering with groups that promote racial and social justice, attending rallies for causes like healthcare, immigrant rights, or climate justice, participating in protests, boycotts, or sit-ins to hold institutions accountable for policies or actions that harm our communities, supporting workers' rights through strikes and organizing, voting and encouraging others to vote, or even contacting your local politician to advocate for justice-driven policies. By sharing information and having discussions, we strengthen our movement and push for lasting change. 4, practice radical empathy and compassion. Now, when I say radical empathy, I don't mean something extreme or divisive. I mean a profound shift in how we relate to one another, a shift that demands we go beyond surface level understanding and deeply connect with others' struggles from a place of shared humanity. Radical empathy isn't just sympathizing with someone. It's about understanding their experience, their pain, and their dreams as though they were our own. This might mean showing up when it's difficult, when it's inconvenient, or even when it feels uncomfortable. Start by mentoring someone, whether it's a young person, a new immigrant, or someone who is simply struggling to find their way. You can also tip service workers generously, acknowledging that hard work that they do. You can donate to homeless shelters, or perhaps participate in community cleanup projects or environmental restoration efforts, actions that can strengthen both the environment and the people in your community. And 5, learn from the past, build for the future. We are not the first generation to face hardship. Communities throughout history have survived wars, oppression, and economic collapse by coming together in solidarity. These lessons can guide us today. We must recognize that our challenges
I
are
don't
not.
I don't think so. I don't think we can learn from the past. We're in a new time that none of us have ever seen before, and we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. We cannot learn from the past.
That's certainly an interesting perspective, and I'm welcomed that you would share that with us. But I do believe there are little glistens of information that we can use to build for the future. For example, when MLK was fighting for civil rights, he used several different types of action, like boycotts. We right now are fighting for our civil rights. So we may need to depend on those actions in the past that have proven to be successful as we face some of the challenges that they have also faced.
Please tell me, what civil rights are you fighting today?
What civil rights are we fighting today? Again, I love this question. We are actually fighting for the whole concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right now, they are trying to get rid of bills that were put in place to protect people like us, women, people of color, gay people. We are facing a time in which we can be discriminated against in employment just for being who we are. So yes, I feel that right now is a civil rights movement. They are trying to take them away from us, and we must work together to make sure that we maintain them. So one powerful way to break free from the limitations of the present is through reading. Books like The Autobiography of Malcolm X and A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn offer invaluable insights into resistance, organizing, and building a more just world. Learning from these moments will equip us with the knowledge and inspiration to create the world we want to live in. Friends, the time to act is now. Let us radicalize ourselves, not into despair, but into a deeper commitment to each other. Let us radically shift our approach to one another, embracing empathy, kindness, and collective action. The world may be broken, but we have the power to fix it. One act of kindness, one gesture of solidarity, one shared struggle at a time. Let's build communities that don't just survive, they thrive. Let's rise together, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. The power is in our hands. Let's show up for each other and make the change we wish to see.
And so for our newer members, Sheila, Brittany, Angela, there were some of us who were harassing Jelena during her speech. The project, which I didn't mention, was called Managing a Difficult Audience. And Jelena, you were well within time. This was actually a 10 to 15 minute presentation, and you came in like at 10 minutes, 30 seconds or so. So it included the 5 to 7 minute speech with all us cogent comments disrupting her. So we had it on that. So Jelena, great job. And Anthony will be evaluating your speech later on. But now let's move into table topics. Now, today is January 28th. How many of you remember what happened on this date in 1986? Well, it was the Challenger disaster. The morning of January 28th from Cape Canaveral, the Challenger was launched and it had on board Michelle McAuliffe, was it? Anyway, a teacher, others, and it exploded before our eyes. It was a very tragic situation. Now, also on this date, in January 28th, 1986, I had a special event that happened to me. And that's what I'm going to be asking each of you to tell us about. Now, my special date was a date with Peggy Mangold. The woman's now my wife. So this was the anniversary of our first date. So I take it as this date as kind of a special tipping point for me. So Sheila, could you tell us about a special tipping point anniversary that you have?
Yes, Bill, thanks. I got out of the military in February 17th, 2001, and that was a substantial tipping point. And my brain altered appreciably at that time. Like, I always had the North Star of completing my mechanical engineering degree and going to work for a great company, and I did. But I feel that that really started February 17th, 2001.
Thank you. And Felice, could you share with us a particular tipping point special anniversary date for you?
Yeah, for me, it was August 8th, 2011. That was the day I first came to the United States. I came here for the senior year of college. It was a joint program between my college university between China school and then another school in the US. And I came here with about 10 of the other students from my original university. And we all know each other. So it was kind of a smooth transition. And we all it going out of country, it's somewhat challenging for anyone for the first time. And then because of all those friends that I had together with me, it made it an easier journey. But still, there are a lot of things that I don't know it would happen. And I met new people here, and I started to explore a new world really for the first time of my life, and ended up now today. So that was the beginning of this journey. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Elise. Kimberly, could you share with us a special tipping point anniversary date for you? Kimberly.
One of the most important days of my life is January 19th, year redacted, because I don't want you to know how old I am. Because that is the day that my sister was born, my little sister. Her name is Stephanie. And I was so excited to get a little sister. I was looking forward to having a little sister. I couldn't wait to hold her. And I remember when she came home, I said, she's so beautiful. Oh, and I just loved her so much. And I still do. She is my best friend. It would be, if it was between my husband and my sister on a sinking ship and I had to choose one of them, that is my Sophie's choice. Because I couldn't choose. I might have to choose my sister because she's younger and she's got more life left to live. And she's just a wonderful person. She's so talented. She is a concert pianist. She does operatic accompaniment. She's smart as a whip. She'll tell you that she's the funniest person alive, and she might be. She's really funny. She's so pretty. It's unfair. She got all the genes that are the beauty genes, and I didn't. And I just love her. I can't imagine my life without her. Can't imagine who I would be without her because I feel like we share a brain. And that day, January 19th, when my sister was born, that's like one of the best days of my life because I got my best friend, I got my sister, and the world got Stephanie. So thank you, January 19th.
Thank you, Kimberly. Artemis, could you share with us a tipping point special holiday anniversary for you?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. I would have to say it would be 1986 when I first enlisted in the U.S. Navy. And boy, did I get a surprise. I had my own apartment and had a lot of freedom. And being in the Navy, I had seemed like all these different beds, 80 people in one room, and everybody had a bunk bed. And they kept us up signing in and getting our uniforms and didn't get to bed till like 4 a.m. And then boom, 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 reveille, time to get up. I'm like, we didn't even get any sleep. And just the drilling and marching, I thought that was all it was just about. Boot camp, just kind of running. I was in super great shape, but it was more of a mental anguish for me with the you didn't put, you're gonna have to drop and don't stop until I say so. And what's the matter? You can't spread your legs to the parade rest. You never had a boyfriend. Like all these cruel things that were going on, and I'm like shocked. But it would have to be the U.S. Navy, and I'm just glad. And I have no regrets. I made a lot of special friends. So I think 1986 was really one of my best times of my life. No regrets.
Thank you, Artemis. And Brittany, could you share with us some cogent comments about a tipping point anniversary date for you? Brittany.
Yeah, I would say when I met my husband about 12, 13 years ago in August, um, he had a very positive impact on me and inspired me to be a much better person and go after things I normally wouldn't have. We dated off and on again for a couple of years, and then we've been together for like 8, 9 years, and then we got married last year. So every time I think about our anniversary, I just think of when I met him, which was like in August, about 12 years ago. It'd be 13 years this August. And it was a big tipping point, like I said, because he like inspired me. I never met anybody like him. He's a very kind and giving person. And I'd never seen anybody work so hard. It really pushed me to go outside of the box and want to try to keep up with him. And yet he was such a good person. And it was interesting because he's a different nationality. He's Chaldean from Iraq. He doesn't look like it. So that was definitely a hurdle for us because typically in their culture, they marry other Chaldean people. It used to be their cousins, but now it's just like other Chaldean people. And so I feel very fortunate that we were able to work everything out and that his family is very welcoming. So whenever I think of a tipping point in my life, I don't think of like going to college, bachelor's or master's degree. I think of maybe the person who helped change me the most, and that would be meeting my husband.
Thank you, Brittany. And Dottie Hamilton, could you give us something on your tipping point special anniversary date?
My tipping point special anniversary date is December 2nd, 2020. When that comes around, I think of my mom. That's the date that she went home to be with the Lord after being in this world for 96 years. When she did, it was a rejoicing. It was not very, very mournful in our lives because she had a full life, and it was during COVID, if you know those dates. When she said, I don't have anything to do but stay cooped up, she started saying, I'm going to go home and see my Lord. That was what I had to go to my siblings and be very cogent and tell them that whatever mom wants is what we're going to pray for, like she's praying for. So that was a tipping point when we celebrated her life, her legacy, her love, because she prepared us. She made sure that we would know her wishes and do everything that she wanted. Because that date just transpired not that long ago, it's fresh on my mind. And thank you for allowing me to express that tipping point in a very cogent way. I yield back.
Okay. Thank you, Dottie. Amy Dukes, could you share with us your tipping point anniversary date?
My tipping point anniversary date. Now, I'm not sure on the exact date, but I know it was December of 2021, and it was around Christmas time. So it was, I want to say maybe the 22nd, almost leading up to Christmas, was the day that I found out I was carrying my daughter. That day was an amazing feeling. The feeling of knowing that I will be a mother to whatever was growing inside of me, a boy or girl at that time. Um, Knowing that this is something that me and my husband wanted. We do have a bonus daughter, so that was a plus for her because she will become a big sister. Knowing that I will teach my child to be the greatest person in the world. Knowing that she would have been the greatest person in the world. So that was my greatest turning point.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. And Anthony Gore, do you have a special tipping point date?
Yes, my turning point date was when my son here was born, Caden Anthony Gore. He was born May 12th, May 13th, 2022. My wife at the time, or my wife at the time when we had Caden, we walked outside the house preparing to go to the hospital, and we looked at each other, and we said we would never be in this situation again where it's just you and I. Once we leave the hospital, it's an additional person in our lives forever. So he's been a bundle of joy, definitely a handful, but I wouldn't trade him for the world. And now we're expecting our second son, which will be here expected June 12th of this year. So being a father was definitely a tipping point in my life and definitely changed my life for the better, for the good.
And now, Angela, you're a guest. Would you like to try this? You're more than welcome to, or you can pass.
Yes.
Okay, so if you could tell us about a special anniversary date that you have in your life, Angela.
Yeah, the first date that popped into my mind was September 29th, 2023. That was the day that I met my now partner, and I never knew what it meant when people said, when you know about a person until now. I truly fell in love with him the first day that I met him, which was something that I was never quite sure would be possible, and I wasn't looking for a partner. I I was looking for a community. So I went to live at this ashram, live and work at this ashram, and he just happened to be there. And I don't believe that another person is the one that we find completion in, but I really believe that someone can complement us and make us just bring out our true self and help us become the best version of ourselves. And that's what's happened with him. I admire him more than anyone I've ever met. And I never could have imagined someone so wonderful to be my life partner. So ever since that day, life has been beautiful in a way that it never had before. And it was really beautiful before, but it's at a whole new level now. And he just empowers me to go after all of my goals and dreams. And he brightens up every single day. And I am incredibly thankful that he came into my life and that he exists. So it might not sound like a long time, but this past year and a few months has gone by really slowly because we've packed so many memories and so much presence and joy into each and every day that we've spent together. So it's
Fantastic.
behind this one of the most special
Very
days.
good. All right.
Thank you.
Well, Angela, that's fantastic. As a guest, probably your first time. We didn't want to put you on the spot, but you did exceptionally well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're moving into the evaluation portion of our meeting. For Angela, for your benefit, that in Toastmasters, we evaluate everything we do. Anthony Gore is going to share his evaluation of Jelena's speech. Anthony.
Yes. So Jelena, you did an excellent job at transitioning when you were disrupted during your speech. You did an excellent job by transitioning from your speech and to acknowledge each question that was asked of you. Not only did you, just to get, you didn't give an answer just to get back on track, but you thoroughly thought about the answer that you gave and moved on accordingly. You didn't get rattled or frustrated. You handled each question with grace. So you did a very good job with interacting with the audience who asked you questions.
Very good.
Mhm.
And thank you. And another thing that we do in our club is we evaluate the table topics. Jelena, could you give your evaluation of our topic speakers?
I can do that. So today we started off with Sheila. I thought you got off to a great confidence start telling us about how leaving the military changed your life. I thought you had some good structure and you spoke for a lot longer than last week. So I thought that was a huge improvement. I'm very proud of you. Felice, you shared your story of coming to America. You shared how the different feelings that you were having. It was really an impactful story. So thank you for sharing that with us. The only criticism, I guess, that I would give you would be to work on the filler words. Kimberly, I loved that you engaged humor. I loved that you changed your vocal tone. And I love the structure of your speech. You told us about this amazing woman, and then you tell us exactly why she's amazing. Artemis, I loved your vocal variety. I think you even had some sound effects in there. To drive your point home, you didn't just tell us it was exhausting, you gave all the details of why it was exhausting. So I thought that was really good. Brittany, you said that your husband inspired you to be a better person. You gave kind of a structural timeline of how you came together. You talked a little bit about some barriers that you crossed. One thing to work on, I think, would be to give specific examples of how he changed you. I think that would have been really powerful, but I loved your conclusion. I loved the way that you tied it all together. Dottie, I loved the pacing and the diction. It's so easy to listen to you. And I think you gave us a beautiful perspective of death and a lesson that, you know, as much as we want our loved ones to be around as long as possible, sometimes we have to pray for what they want if they're ready to move on. I thought that was a beautiful sentiment. Amy, thank you again for sharing with us this experience of the time that you knew that you were going to become a mother. You described what it meant to you and your husband and your dreams for your child. I thought it was a well-structured speech. Anthony, I really liked that moment that you looked at each other and you said, "We'll never be in this situation again." I thought that was really a great point. This additional person is going to be in your life forever. I would maybe add how you think fatherhood has changed you, or how you go about your life differently now that you're a father. And lastly, Angela, congratulations. You're so brave. Would commend you for putting together some thoughts for us about how you met your now partner. You described to us that feeling of when you know, you know. I think that's familiar to a lot of us. You said you were looking for community, but you found love. I thought that was beautiful. You also added in the sentiment of maybe we're not meant to complete each other, but we can complement each other and have our best self come out. And I liked that you even said life was beautiful before, but it's more beautiful now. So thank you for sharing with us. I thought that was a beautiful story. I'm so happy you have a relationship like that in your life.
Great. Thank you. And Anthony, you had signed up for being counter grammarian. Can you give us your report on accounting and grammar?
Sheila, I only counted 2 filler words. Felice, I counted 1 Kimberly, I didn't hear any. Artemis, I didn't hear any. Brittany, I counted 2. Dottie 1, and Angela 1 for counter.
Very good. And Amy, as our timer, could you give us your timer's report?
Okay, here is the timer's report. Felice, 1 minute and 17 seconds. Sheila, 15 seconds. Dottie, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Anthony, 1 minute. Kimberly, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Artemis, 1 minute and 37 seconds. Now, when doing, well, Jelena, you did your speech. I counted 9 minutes and 23 seconds for that. Brittany, yours was a minute and 38 seconds, and then Angela, yours was a minute and 43 seconds.
Great. And now for our general evaluator who'll be evaluating the meeting and giving us a report on our use of Cogent. Artemis.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Actually, the general evaluator um, has two major responsibilities, and that's to court the evaluation team and to evaluate the overall meeting. They have helpers such as the odd counter, the grammarian, and the timer or timekeeper. The evaluation segment is one of the three main pillars of the Toastmasters meeting. At this time, I'd like to give my overall comments as it relates to the meeting. The meeting started, oh, excuse me. The meeting started on time with the reciting of the mission statement. I like the fact that everyone was there beforehand, before the meeting started, which was quite impressive. I thought, Mr. Toastmaster, you were great as a motivator and kept everything crossed the T's and dotted the I's and kept everything moving along. It was very smooth transitions. I thought Toastmaster Verkler gave a truly inspiring speech. I would have liked to have, I think the timing rules for our guests should be explained at every segment, 5 to 7 minutes, table topics, and ask the timer to please explain the timing rules. So that's one thing I did notice. And also that the general evaluators usually called upon to introduce the evaluator, the timer, and the grammarian. They have a team, and that's what the purpose of the general evaluator does. Other than that, I like the fact that our guests were acknowledged and invited to participate as well. So overall, I was quite impressed. As usual, the club is just really growing into something quite nice and enjoyable. So at this time, I'd like to return control back to our wonderful Toastmaster, Toastmaster Moylan.
And also, Artemis, how did we do on our use of the word of the day?
Oh, that's not the general evaluator. That's the grammarian.
Grammarian. Okay, very fine.
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
thank you. We're good.
I didn't. Grammarian who was the grammarian?
That was Anthony.
Did
Did you give us a count on our use of the word of the day? We heard it many times. Okay. Thank you, Artemis.
I did notice
my fault, Paul.
Toastmaster Hamilton.
I know Dottie used it for sure.
Yeah, I did notice
Okay.
that.
I apologize, Artemis. I was using an old version of the agenda. I should have looked at the updated agenda. You slipped in there on the jump. That was my mistake. Okay, let us now turn control of the meeting back to our club president, Jelena.
All right, I'd like to open the floor to any feedback, comments, questions that anybody has, especially our guest, Angela. We'd love to hear what you thought of our meeting, or if you're new to Toastmasters, or what brought you here.
What brought me here is my boyfriend. I He has experience with the Toastmasters Club. I believe he did it in college. So he told me that he really benefited from it. And I my public speaking skills are okay, but I'm always looking to improve different areas of my life. So that's why I'm here. And I'm really enjoying the meeting so far. I really liked that off the cuff exercise. I felt like that was a really good way to just kind of like throw yourself in and with no preparation, just talk about a topic. And I already noticed some areas that I could improve, but I'm proud of myself for just doing it. Um, I think it's also nice that everyone's really supportive of each other and it feels like a really comfortable environment to learn in. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We really try to cultivate a community here. And we're very supportive of each other. Sheila, did you have something to say?
I just had a question. Could everybody please say their first and last names so I know how to pronounce it in the future if it ever comes up? Thanks.
I'll go first. I'm Jelena Verkler.
Anthony Gore.
I'm Angela Catalano.
I'm Felice Wang.
I'm Amy Dukes.
Dottie Hamilton.
Kim Baird.
Bill Moylan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Brittany Hannah.
This is Artemis Mayat, not Artemis. Some people say Artemis, but I just say, just call me Artie, but it's Artemis, Tay, Artemis, like Miss, Miss, Artemis Mayat.
That was a great idea. Did anyone not go? Is that everyone?
I didn't go. My name's Sheila Buswell, like what little kids ride to school and where you get water, just in case anybody, because my maiden name was long and Polish, and it got pronounced more correctly more often than Buswell, which is
Really?
weird.
Sheila, I know the feeling. People always put a D at the end of my name,
Oh, that's funny.
and it's Irish, and they pronounce it Mylan.
Oh.
Yes, it's the second. It's like Schmieder in German. It's IE, and it's the second letter they pronounce. That's the Germanic way. So good one on that, Sheila. And could I share my screen momentarily? This is
Go for
our.
it.
Can people see this? This is the speakers for next time. We have Kimberly speaking, Tiana, Valerie, and Sheila Buswell giving her icebreaker. Now, Sheila, you received that icebreaker project from me?
I don't remember. I need to look, Bill. I'm sorry.
Okay,
But
not a
yeah.
problem. I'll send it again. It's okay. Because I didn't see you listed on our free toast yet, but that doesn't stop me. I'll get that to you.
Thank you.
And the same thing for Brittany. I have you scheduled for the meeting afterwards on the 25th. So I'll make sure I'll send to both of you together in the same composite. But it's a free download on Icebreaker. And so that's the first project. Now, don't be too concerned. Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to develop that speech? You've been working on this your whole life. You tell us about you. So, a little background, where you're at now, why you joined our club, and what we can do for you. So that's pretty much the piece on that.
Elise, did you have something?
Yeah, so I have a question for do we have a dedicated session for the new people or the guests to introduce themselves before the meeting?
I don't think that we do. Typically, we would acknowledge the guests at the beginning of the meeting and welcome them. And then I feel like what we've kind of been doing is then opening the floor to them at the end of the meeting. Do you think that there's a better way to go about that?
No, I just feel like I wanted to hear a little more self-introduction from the guest before we start.
Okay.
Yeah, normally it is kind of you introduce them at the beginning of the meeting because then you want to ask them and invite them if they want to participate in for table topics. They can either decline or not, but normally it's kind of in the middle, in the beginning, and then at the end, then you ask for their overall comments.
And on that note, Angela, could you drop your contact information into the chat?
Yeah, just my email or more than that.
Email's good.
Okay.
Anything else, or should we move forward to fill the roles for next meeting? Bill, you're on mute.
There we go. Okay. Right now I have, would anyone like to be Toastmaster? No takers? Jelena, we have that. Wordmaster? We have Kimberly, Tiana, Valerie, and as I mentioned, our, who did we have as that?
Sheila.
Sheila, thank
will be
you.
good with the icebreaker,
Because
yes.
it's just guessed. So any roles people would like to fill?
I could be Wordmaster, Bill.
All right. Anthony.
I guess I can take Toastmasters.
Who is that?
Artemis.
Okay, very good.
Toastmaster Mayat.
Okay, got it. Okay.
This
I'm
is
sorry, did we?
Jelena. Oh, sorry. Kim, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Do we have Valerie Milton listed as a speaker? Did she rejoin?
I think she did renew her membership, but she has not been at a meeting
Oh, that's exciting.
in quite
Okay,
some
cool.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right
we'll
now,
need to
can
check in with
people
her.
see this? I have Sheila as giving the icebreakers. So, all right, go back up here again. Our little
This
tricks
is
of the
Jelena.
trade.
Can I be one of the evaluators?
Okay, and who is that?
Jelena.
Okay, I'll have you as number one.
Dottie, evaluator.
Okay, thank you. Gotta find you, Dottie. There you are. Okay. Anyone else? I can evaluate. I'll do number three. Where am I? There we are. So we still have spots for evaluator number 4 and table topics.
This is Felice. I can be the evaluator.
Okay, we'll put you down for the table topics.
Can you do the evaluator for speech number 4?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's Felice. I'm looking for you. Ah, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do the odd counter grammar.
Who is that?
Dukes.
Amy.
Was that Dottie?
No, it's
Amy
Amy.
Pardon me?
Amy.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't see anybody. See, I'm looking over here. Okay. Timer, anyone? General evaluator?
I'll do a timer.
And who is that?
That's Kim Baird, sorry.
No problem. Thank you. Topic master or general evaluator?
Table topics, Dottie.
Okay, thank you.
Ooh, we're in for a treat.
General evaluator?
I can be general evaluator. This is Jelena.
Okay. There you are. Okay. And we still have a couple others, but we can put Jelena here as well. There we go.
This is Karen. I came back. If I'm feeling up to it, I can fill in one of the spots that somebody's doing a double on.
Okay, Karen.
We'll just have to see how I will just have to see how I feel at the time though.
Okay, very good. We've got you as
Thanks.
topics evaluator, and then we will put Bill Liverman here. Bill goes there, and this is Jelena. Well, thank you, team. We got the total the whole agenda is filled. Boy, you better come to a meeting if you want to get a role, I'll tell you. Okay, I will send this out. People will have it. And one other point, Jelena, have they told you when our area contest is going to be?
I have not heard on that.
Well, I would like to suggest politely that you present your speech without the interruptions that you just gave us. But I think it would be an excellent international speech.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank
Good.
you.
So with the interruptions, you might be, you don't have to address and change those. That was not an evaluatory. Boy, it was hard to kind of come up with something to harass you about. But I just wanted to let everyone know, and particularly Angela, this doesn't happen regularly during a speech. This was a special project on that. And one time when I used this particular project, it was intentional because I knew what I was presenting was going to be a very hostile audience, and there was going to be a lot of emotion over it. It happens every other year in the district. And that is when we announced the district reorganization. So I was part of the committee. Vera Johnson was the district director. And the chair of it was Kevin Umstead, a past district director. So I suggested that Kevin do the overview, and then I would present the actual reorganization with the knowing that people would get upset about it, and I would be the lightning rod, not have any of the others who worked on it because they were all going to be in the district the following year in leadership roles. And I said, they get mad at me, they get mad at me. Anyway, it went well. The project helped me because I identified 3 key people. One of them was Karen Barrett. Karen, do you remember that? And I had you ask me a question about the reorganization. It was Jeff Hamilton, yourself, and then another, and it went very well. The funny part of the story is afterwards, because Vera Johnson evaluated me, I went back up to the stage. She gave me her book. She was going through some of the points that I was able to cover, suggestions on how to handle it. And standing next to her was a past international president of Toastmasters. And his wife, Jana Barnhill, the current international president, was there addressing our conference, which we're lucky to have that. Anyway, when I was going through it, he just politely asked me, he said, well, what project was it? I said, presenting to a hostile audience, dealing with the interruptions. And he started to laugh uncontrollably. And he was literally falling off the stage, and we were trying to catch him. His wife saw this. She was in the back of the room, came running forward. She thought he was having a heart attack. He was laughing. What happened? And he finally caught his breath and he said, Bill did the best. I've gone to hundreds of these, and there's always contentious, and I've never seen any Toastmaster do what he did. And I said, well, been through it before and it worked well. That's how you put Toastmasters to work. And then she started laughing because, of the piece. But that's how you can put Toastmasters to work, dealing with a hostile audience. And as a professor, I'll be doing that tomorrow in the class because we're going to be covering the results of exam number 1. Anything else for the good of the order, the good of the club? If not,
Yeah,
just,
I wanted to, I guess, share was a handout that I got. I tried to put it in the chat. Was about the spring. It says Toastmasters District 28 Spring Conference 2025. Members first, power of you. And it has on here program book advertising opportunities and the names of the people, Kim Kinzer and Jeff Hampton. You can call for further details on that as well.
great, thank you.
Is it possible to get a
Artemis, are you suggesting that our club should advertise?
Good idea.
I don't
Do
know.
we have money in the treasury?
I don't know how Blue Cross Blue Shield operates, but it's just got a handout, so I just wanted to share it.
Well, Jelena, your president will leave it up to you.
Okay. Well, let's
if
give it up.
also, I hate to interrupt, but I wanted to see if everyone was in a mood for a nice big smile for the camera. At the count of, getting a little rusty here. At the count of 3, 1, oh, I'll take my glasses off. I guess 1, 2, 3. I want to do one more one with my glasses off. I can't get the glare out here. I don't know how to do it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, thank you. I put the last week's picture on the Free Toast Host too, just in case. Thank you.
Great.
I have my glasses off. I can't see it. I can't see anything. It's just a big blur. So.
Okay,
Shout out to Artemis for always cataloging our events. Great.
And I'll call the meeting adjourned.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good night, everyone.